I'm not really a guitar builder, I'm just a guitar player, but there was so much I learned with this project, and when it comes to the things that I've learned about guitars, or things that I might have changed about this guitar if I could have gone back, or if we're being honest, things that we might do slightly different when we do a sister to this guitar. When it comes to this color, I still like it, but I think we could have gone a little bit darker, making it a little bit more closer to like the midnight blue custom color that Gibson makes, that when you look at it, it kind of looks black, but then if you look closely at it or at different lights, then it actually looks blue, like dark blue. But even then, I still think this looks great. The thing that I really don't like too much about this guitar, the string spacing of this hip shot tremolo is a bit narrower than the one on my telly, and I will often find myself being very comfortable with the left hand because it's very much the same string spacing down here. But with my picking hand, if I don't play with this guitar for a long time, and I play a long time with the telly, I kind of have to relearn the position of all the strings, so I always hit them with my pick. I was able to kind of stretch the saddles a little bit because there was a little bit of a gap in between each saddle, which makes sense, you know, to facilitate intonation movements and stuff like that. But I ended up just sticking a little bit of electrical tape in between each saddle, which kind of expanded the string spacing just a tiny little bit, which you actually feel straight away, but it isn't quite as wide as it is in my telly, and that's probably the main thing that I would change. Obviously, with a gold tremolo, you can't quite do it without ruining it, but if we had made it just a standard chrome tremolo, then I think that one might be easier to just kind of like file away maybe a little bit and get some wider saddles for it. But other than that, it's very fine. I kind of had to modify the tremolo arm a little bit. Well, technically not the tremolo arm itself, because I'm much more used to Fender tremolos that stick way higher than the regular hip shot tremolo does, which I know is a little bit weird because most people kind of like to have their tremolo arms be very low profile, but that's just not the way I got used to it. So I ended up sticking a little bit of rubber inside the tremolo arm cavity so that I make sure that when I pop the tremolo arm in, it doesn't go in further than what feels comfortable to me. I also don't play with the tip of the tremolo arm in because I feel like the sort of Floyd Rose bare tremolo arm is much more comfortable. And in the case of hip shot, they kind of have it slightly knurled a little bit, which means that it's still quite comfortable and smooth, but it gives you a little bit of a grip if you want to just hold on to it. And that is pretty cool because originally when I saw the marketing for the tremolo, it always came in with a tremolo tip, and I was thinking to myself that I probably had to research some sort of different tremolo arm that was compatible with the hip shot tremolo that didn't have the thingy, but it all worked out fine, which is so much superior to like the regular Fender tremolo arms, where if you unscrew the tip, you then get that screw surface on it that kind of hurts your hand when you play it. Another thing that I didn't know, and again, this might just be like my lack of experience when it comes to guitar parts, because this is my first guitar with gold hardware, but the gold in each piece of hardware really isn't the same thing. Since the tremolo and the tuners were both hip shot, the gold on them is pretty much the same, but the knobs that I think are from like Q parts or something like that, they're not the same shade of gold. And when we ordered the locking tuners, we ordered a set of 6 plus an extra tuner to accommodate for the 7th string. That extra tuner just didn't come right because the gold was kind of flaking and missing in some parts. We noticed it before the guitar was built, so we then contacted his distributor and they just replaced it. But even then, it was kind of weird because we made a specific and special custom order, and even then, the attention to detail wasn't exactly right. The same thing happened with the knobs. I thought they were cool because they're gold, and on top of them they have this like acrylic mother of pearl pseudo-pearloid material that kind of matches the tuners. And while the pearloid part is fine, the gold isn't really uniform with the way I use the knobs. When they're in the positions where I most frequently use them, I don't really notice. But yeah, in a hypothetical scenario where we didn't notice that the knobs weren't really colored right, only months and months after ordering the knobs, we probably would have sent them back and got some new ones. In all fairness, we did warn me that the gold might not always be perfect when it comes to these things, even when you buy them new from a reputable dealer or distributor. And honestly, sometimes to detect some of these inconsistencies with the way the gold looks, you have to look at it in different lighting conditions to sometimes make sure that you catch them. So I understand that some of these things might not be easily identifiable, but I think these manufacturers should probably pay closer attention to these things. Another thing that I didn't know is that when it comes to the switches, they don't really do gold switches. I thought they would just do switches in like chrome, black, and gold, but surprisingly they don't. At least not with the 5-way super switch that we had to use with this wiring. I kind of get confused a little bit sometimes when going over to the last frets over here, even though it is a 25.5 inch scale length. To make sure that we got the access right to the 24th fret, we kind of just moved everything up a couple of millimeters to make sure that I got the access to the 24th fret right. So sometimes when I come to playing these tinier frets over here, I will occasionally be a fret off, especially because the inlays are more towards the top than the bottom. But it's just one of those things that if I play with this guitar all the time, I kind of get used to it. I don't really make that mistake no more. And we actually experimented with having the inlays be on the top side when it came to the first 12 frets, and then on the bottom side from the 12th fret up. But visually, it kind of didn't look right, so I just kept it like this. Thank you for watching this video. This is just a section of the bigger video of the review/demo of my custom Rui Silva guitar. If you'd like to learn more about it, please click the full video, and consider leaving a like, comment, subscribe, follow, and stay tuned for more.